Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into Midnight Affairs Tales. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you are watching from right now. Let us know in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story, Chapter 1. The call that wasn't meant for him. The phone buzzed just as Cole Maddox stepped out of the airport. A voicemail notification blinked back at him. Unknown number. He hit play out of habit, expecting a sales pitch or a wrong number. Instead, he heard this. Yeah, he's coming back this weekend. We'll take the canyon trail. No cameras, no cell signal. One little push, and it's done. He gets his soldier send-off. You and I get the payout. A pause. Then a voice he hadn't heard in years, but knew like breathing. Rhea. Cole's blood went ice-cold. The Arizona sun did nothing to warm it. His fingers tightened around the phone like he could crush the betrayal out of it. She was planning to kill him. No hesitation in her voice. No guilt. Just cold calculation and intimacy with someone else. He stood still, passengers brushing past with hellos and hugs and signs with names. Meanwhile, his world was silently detonating. Cole turned slowly. His truck waited at the curb where she said she'd meet him. She leaned against the door in sunglasses and a summer dress, smiling like nothing had happened. He didn't wave. Didn't move. He just stared. That voicemail, it wasn't just betrayal. It was a blueprint. And now, every moment ahead was part of a war. The kind only one of them would survive. But the real question wasn't if Rhea wanted him dead. It was, who else wanted him gone too? Wait, I need to tell you something important. Have you ever realized that you keep watching my videos but haven't subscribed yet? This video has reached this point, which means you're enjoying it. So why not subscribe? I have a big goal, 5,000 subscribers. And you can help me reach it. Think about it. If you don't subscribe now, you might miss my next big video. This is the moment. Hit that subscribe button now. Do it now. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out. I know you'll do it. And when we hit 5,000 subscribers, I have a special surprise for you. Now let's continue story. Babe, you're finally back. Rhea threw her arms around him as soon as he slid into the truck. Her perfume was the same. Her smile forced. Cole kissed her cheek with soldier precision. Missed you. Her grip was too tight. Her eyes flicked to his duffel bag. You look tired. Air Force Base messed up my flight. Had to wait around. She nodded, started the engine. But Cole noticed her hand trembled on the steering wheel for a split second. She covered it by adjusting the radio. The drive home felt wrong. Not the road. Not the air. Her. Their house hadn't changed. Same flower pots, same porch swing. But Cole felt like a ghost returning to a life that had already buried him. Inside, he scanned everything. Mail unopened. Dishes clean. No signs of stress. But no signs of love either. You still take your hikes in the canyon? She asked casually as she unpacked groceries. Not in years. Maybe we should go. You could use the fresh air. He smiled. Maybe. Later that night, while she showered, Cole slipped into her home office. Password still the same. Always you. He hated how familiar that felt. Emails. Deleted texts. All gone. But the recently cleared browser history told another story. Life insurance policies. Estate transfers. A one-way real estate listing on their home. And a name. Trent Holloway. Cole stared at the screen. His pulse slowed, sharpened. This wasn't just about love. It was about money. Power. Silence. And she was planning to bury him in the silence. He walked out of the office and into their bedroom like nothing was wrong. If she wanted to play a game, she picked the wrong opponent. Cole watched her sleep. Calm. Dreaming. Maybe of Trent. Maybe of his death. He slipped out of bed, grabbing the second phone he'd bought under a different name years ago. Backup from a time he hoped never to need it. Tonight, he needed it. A quick search pulled up Trent Holloway. A name that came with polished real estate ads, community awards, and clean-cut smiles. But Cole saw it instantly, overlapping ownerships, ghost LLCs, no public records of childhood. Fake. Manufactured. Dangerous. By sunrise, Cole had mapped Trent's business routes. 2 houses. 1 office. 1 yacht club. But what hit hardest was the photo. Rhea, dressed to kill, at a charity gala. Her hand on Trent's chest. Her wedding ring gone. He closed his eyes, breathed slowly. This wasn't about love. It never was. Back at home, Rhea brewed coffee like nothing was wrong. You sleep okay? Better than I thought, Cole lied. She smiled. I was thinking, maybe we do the canyon trail this weekend. You and me. Like old times. He met her gaze. Steady. Calm. Sure. Let's make it a weekend to remember. She leaned in. I love you, you know. He kissed her forehead. I know. But in his mind, the mission was already underway. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a hit job. And he was going to answer it like a soldier. No shouting. No rage. Just precision. Because the worst kind of revenge is the one they never see coming. Saturday morning, the sun hit Arizona like a hammer. Dry heat, sharp air, cloudless sky. Perfect weather for a hike. Perfect weather for a cover story. Rhea packed the picnic basket herself. Cold sandwiches. 2 water bottles. Enough for a 2-person trip. Not enough for a return. She wore her hair in a loose braid, sunglasses big enough to hide secrets. You sure you're up for it? She asked as they loaded the truck. Cole nodded. Been through worse terrain. The canyon trail was long, isolated. No other hikers in sight. Rhea chatted the whole way about nothing. Surface talk. Her voice was bright, but her eyes scanned every ledge. Then came the moment. Halfway up a narrow ridge, she stopped. Look at that view, she said. Breathtaking, right? Cole stepped forward, careful. That's when her hand slid behind his back. Just a light press. Subtle. But he felt it. She was about to shove him. He turned fast, caught her wrist mid-move. Don't, he said flatly. Her face went white. She tried to laugh. I was just joking. Were you? She pulled away, forced a smile. God, you're jumpy. They walked the rest in silence. At the peak, she snapped a photo of him at the edge. Proof you made it, she said. He smiled. But later, while she texted, he quietly dropped his military ID, watch, and bloodied ragged down the cliff into a sharp ravine. By midnight, authorities would find them and call it in. Former soldier, lost during a hike. Tragic. Unrecoverable body. He watched her send the first message. It's done. Then he drove away in a second car she didn't know he had. She thought she buried him in the canyon. She didn't know he just climbed higher. 3 counties away, under the radar, Cole entered a storage unit disguised as abandoned. Inside, a survival pack, cash, burner phones, tactical gear, and a cold laptop humming to life. His face stared back at him from a dozen news articles within hours. Retired vet feared dead after canyon fall, tragic end to hero's return. Rhea was already on camera, tears streaming. He just slipped. I screamed. I tried Oscar-worthy. Almost. He watched from the shadows, expressionless. Her performance earned sympathy. Neighbors offered flowers. Trent was nowhere in sight, but Cole knew better. Men like Trent stayed behind the curtain until the show ended. Cole made a list. Rhea, Trent Holloway, coroner Lyle Denton, insurance agent Carla Myers, Sheriff Judson Ray, each name connected to the same payout web. One accidental death after another. Spouses. Life insurance. Property transfers. All under the radar. Cole whispered to himself, not an affair. Not even a scam. A pipeline. He set up encrypted surveillance feeds on Rhea's phone, her laptop, and one inside her SUV's dashboard. That night, Rhea met Trent in his office. Cole watched as they kissed. She whispered, "We're free now." Trent opened a bottle of champagne. To us. Cole marked the time. 11:42 p.m. Her first drink as a widow. His first night as a ghost. Dead men don't need permission to haunt. They just need patience. 3 days after the fake death, Cole moved like smoke, silent, untraceable. He bought a burner in a laundromat parking lot. Paid in cash, gloves on. No cameras. No patterns. He returned to his safe house and began step 1, observation. Every call Rhea made, he recorded. Every text, copied. Her browser history. Her bank logins. Passwords hadn't changed. Sloppy. Trent was smarter. He used secure lines, burner phones, hidden apps. But Cole had time. And time was a weapon. He watched them plan renovations to their new life. Rhea signed over Cole's assets through a forged power of attorney. The same notary who'd filed 2 other spousal deaths in the past 5 years. Cole cross-referenced it all. A network. Cold and organized. He whispered, "This isn't personal. It's a system." Then, something new. Trent mentioned a meeting with someone named Crawford, another buyer for a property that had mysteriously gone into probate. Cole searched the name. No photos, no social, but multiple business registrations under shell companies. One address matched a storage facility where a woman had disappeared last year. He felt it click. They didn't just kill spouses. They flipped entire lives for profit. His phone buzzed. Ria's voice from a tapped call. Once the transfer hits, we disappear for good. Cole leaned forward, ice in his veins. You disappear, he said under his breath, when I say so. And when ghosts come for revenge, they never knock. Cole sat in his safe house, screens glowing around him. He stared at the evidence he'd gathered, deeds, wire transfers, obscure tax filings. Ria and Trent hadn't just faked love, they faked entire financial histories. He zeroed in on a recent wire, $2.5 million deposited into an offshore account, labeled Widow's Benefit. The sender? Holloway Holdings. The recipient? A company under Ria's name, Red Sun Logistics. She wasn't a pawn. She was in this all the way. Cole opened a dusty military-issue hard case. Inside, an old laptop, armored and encrypted. He powered it on and typed in an access code only 2 people in the world ever knew. One was buried in Kabul. This system wasn't just for data, it was for warfare. Tactical pattern software, designed to track insurgents across broken nations. No? It would trace the rot inside his own home. He loaded Ria's financials and waited. It pinged. 2 more names. Victor Kinner, a shady defense contractor, and Crawford, who now showed up with real estate deals linked to suicides, bankruptcies, and missing persons. The algorithm saw what the cops hadn't. It wasn't a love triangle. It was a machine that fed on silence. He closed the laptop, hard hammering. She didn't just sell me out, he muttered. She used me. Just then, Ria's voice echoed from the speaker. A call. I don't care what Cole said about family, she snapped to someone. He's dead now. Let it go. Family? Cole leaned forward. Who are you talking to? He replayed the line. Slower. Closer. Her brother. Dylan. The only family Cole ever trusted. If Ria dragged him into this, she wasn't just killing her husband. She was erasing his whole bloodline. Cole drove 2 towns over, where Dylan Maddox ran a modest mechanic shop off Highway 10. The building hadn't changed in years, blue steel siding, rusted gutters, half-burned neon sign blinking open. Cole parked behind the alley, wearing a hat and sunglasses. No one could know he was alive, not yet. Inside, Dylan hunched under a lifted Dodge Charger. Grease on his face, wrench in hand, headphones in. Cole waited until the music paused. Need help with that? Dylan jerked upright, banging his head. Jesus. He froze, eyes wide. Cole? Yeah, he said quietly. They embraced for a second. Then Dylan pulled back, stunned. They said, you were gone. Dead. Cole nodded once. Supposed to be. Dylan looked around. You're in danger. You can't be here. Tell me what you know, Cole said. Don't lie. Dylan swallowed. Look, Ria came by. Asked about your insurance, some paperwork. I didn't think much of it. She said it was just in case. Then she introduced me to some guy. Trent. Did he offer you money? Dylan's silence was answer enough. Cole's face stayed calm, but his jaw locked. Did you take it? No, Dylan exhaled. But he said they were trying to protect your legacy sounded like BS. I told him to get lost. Cole's eyes softened. Just a little. Good. Because this thing is bigger than an affair. It's a web. He pulled a flash drive from his pocket and handed it over. I need you to stash this. Safe. Fireproof. Dylan took it, nodding. You're going after them, aren't you? Cole stepped back toward the door. No, he said. I'm pulling the entire thing down. And anyone still holding a thread, better let go fast. Trent Holloway stood in a high-rise office wrapped in glass, downtown Phoenix glittering behind him. He raised a whiskey glass toward the window. To ghosts, he muttered, smirking. He didn't know he was being watched. Across the street, Cole sat in an abandoned hotel suite, camera lens locked on the office window. Audio streamed from a remote mic planted in Ria's SUV, now parked in the garage below Trent's office. Their conversation played live. You said the properties were clean, Ria hissed. They were, Trent replied. Until your husband decided to not stay dead. Ria's voice dropped. There's no way he's alive. He wouldn't let it go this long. Cole smirked. You underestimate the things I can do quietly, he whispered. He zoomed in through the lens. Trent opened a drawer, papers, maps, deets. Cole snapped photos of every detail. One caught his attention, a fake subdivision built on tribal land, never finished. Bought under Cole's name 2 months before his death. They were laundering property through his ID. Rhea added, the cops are looking too close. We need to sell and get out. No, Trent's voice chilled. We finish what we started. Cole leaned back from the camera and stared at the wall where he'd pinned every name, every transaction, every connection. This wasn't a love affair gone bad. This was organized murder, and they used his face to finance it. He stood, grabbed his gear, and looked out at the desert skyline. They thought they'd buried a soldier. But they forgot. Soldiers don't die easy. Especially not the kind trained to disappear and strike back harder. The files weren't rumors anymore. They were patterns. Real names. Real people. Cole sat in the glow of his monitors, a cigarette burning slow in the ashtray beside him. He hated the habit, but tonight felt like the battlefield, where men did what they had to in order to think. He clicked through the folder titled Closed Case Spouses, sent anonymously by an ex-insurance agent with no name. Just the message. I want out. They're getting sloppy. First case, Sandra McGill, wife of a local defense attorney. Fell off a cabin balcony during their honeymoon. Cause, accidental overdose, then fall. Policy paid, $1.8 million. Trent Holloway listed as business partner. Second, Devin Morse, married to a yoga instructor. Found drowned in a hot tub. Ruled misadventure. Policy paid, $950,000. Realtor? Rhea Maddox. Third, Maria DeSoto, husband vanished. No remains. Life insurance paid at 5 years. Property flipped by a company under Red Sun Logistics. Each name came with a connection. All roads led to Rhea and Trent. Cole leaned back and ran a hand over his jaw. They've done this before. Clean. Profitable. He opened a police database he wasn't supposed to have access to. Search for any unsolved or closed cases with Trent or Rhea's names buried in paperwork. More pings. Cole's heart beat slower, not from fear, but from confirmation. This wasn't emotional now. It was methodical. And now, he wasn't just avenging himself. He was carrying the weight of every name on that screen. They thought they were done. But Cole was just getting started. Dr. Lyle Denton's name came up in 5 of the suspicious death reports Cole reviewed. Same signature. Same vague language. Trauma-related accident. Undetermined cause. Presumed drowning. Coroner by title. Cleaner by trade. Cole followed him from his lab in the city to a backdoor bar off Route 84, a spot no one went unless they had something to hide. Denton sat alone, drinking vodka straight, avoiding eye contact with anyone who looked sober. Cole walked in wearing an old mechanic's uniform, ball cap low. He sat beside him, quiet at first. You still get paid for silence? He asked without looking. Denton froze. What? You signed off on my death. The man turned pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Cole placed a USB on the bar. You do. And this holds every case you've buried. Same phrases. Same payouts. Your cuts weren't subtle. Denton looked around, lowering his voice. You don't understand. It's not just me. I was told. I know who told you. Cole leaned in, slow and calm. Here's what's going to happen. You'll revise my death certificate, label it fraudulent. You'll email it from an anonymous account. If you don't, that flash drive hits the FBI. You'll get us all killed. I'm already dead, remember? Denton swallowed hard. You're insane. No, Cole said as he stood. You are. For thinking men like me don't come back. Outside, Cole stepped into the night air. For the first time in days, the wind felt clean. Exposing them wouldn't just break their system. It would burn the whole machine. Sheriff Judson Ray looked like every small-town lawman on a recruitment poster. Broad shoulders, buzz-cut, wraparound shades. But Cole knew better. He remembered the day Judson visited him in the hospital years ago, after an IED left shrapnel in his shoulder. You served for all of us, he'd said. No? He was cashing in on corpses. Cole watched from a booth inside a truck stop diner where Judson met with Carla Myers, the insurance agent who processed Cole's life policy. No uniforms. Just plain clothes and whisper-level tension. Cole had tapped Carla's phone last week. Her last call with Rhea confirmed what he suspected. Judson expedited death certifications. Fast tracks meant faster payouts. Cole Maddox's claim got flagged, Carla muttered. Judson stirred his coffee. Too clean. They're digging. We need to close it. How? He's dead. Cole smiled in the dark. Outside, he placed a tracking device under the sheriff's cruiser, then slipped a second phone into the trunk, set to record everything for the next 72 hours. Later, in the safe house, Cole reviewed the audio from the booth. Carla's voice, whispering, "You promised this one would be simple. Judson, you ever know a soldier to die simple?" Cole stared at the screen, jaw tight. His eyes flicked to a new section on his corkboard enablers. Everyone who knew. Everyone who helped. He didn't need to kill them. Not yet. He needed the world to see them for what they really were. Not everyone pulls the trigger, but the ones who load the gun, they're just as guilty. The press loved a sad widow. Rhea played her part well, dressed in muted tones, eyes rimmed in pink, speaking softly about grieving the love of her life. But Cole knew better. He watched the live interview from his safe house, pausing on her every expression. The quiver in her voice was real, but not grief. Nerves. Fear. A woman who knew she was standing on a trapdoor. The next step had to be public. Loud. But not directly from him. Cole uploaded his first anonymous leak to the inbox of Sasha Clemens, an independent reporter who'd made headlines last year for exposing a police bribe network in Flagstaff. He didn't trust big media. He needed someone hungry. Someone sharp. The email included forged insurance documents, a list of property transfers under Rhea's alias, a video clip of Trent discussing payout timelines. The subject line, "Dead men don't lie, but they do watch." Hours later, Sasha tweeted, "Multiple suspicious spousal deaths in Arizona may be connected to a real estate laundering ring." Full story developing. It spread fast. Cole didn't need to be seen. He just needed the questions to start. Later that night, Rhea's voice crackled through his speaker again. "We need to lay low," she said. "Delete everything. I don't want to end up like Maria." Cole's eyes narrowed. Maria DeSoto. The woman no one ever found. She was the one they never cleaned up right. He pulled her file again, this time digging for overlooked angles. And that's when he saw it. A call record tied to a third number. Not Rhea. Not Trent. Another woman. Still active. Still in the city. Still alive? Cole moved fast, tracking the number through a dark web ping back to a wellness center downtown. High-end. Quiet. Discreet. Inside, he posed as a potential donor and waited in the lounge, thumbing through magazines while watching the reception desk. When the woman finally walked in, his breath caught. Maria DeSoto. Older. Gaunt. Hair dyed dark. But it was her. He followed her into the parking garage, keeping his distance, waiting for the moment. Then, "Maria," he said calmly. She spun, panic in her eyes. "Who?" "I'm not here to hurt you," Cole said, hands raised. "I'm Cole Maddox." She blinked hard, then stepped back. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was. Until I saw your name on the list." She hesitated, then nodded once. "Get in." In her car, engine idling, Maria told him everything. Trent had tried to kill her, same pattern. Same setup. But she'd fought back, knocked him unconscious and ran. "I knew going to the police wouldn't work," she said. "So I vanished. Changed everything." She'd been hiding for 3 years. Cole asked, "You have proof?" She pulled out a flash drive. Video. Bank transfers. Voice recordings. "I've been building a case, but I was scared." "Don't be," Cole said. "You're not alone anymore." That night, he played the recordings on his laptop. Trent's voice. Rhea's. Plans. Threats. Even mentions of bribing Judson and Denton. Maria had been the key all along. The next morning, Sasha published another story. Survivor comes forward. Inside Arizona's spousal death ring, it hit national news in minutes. And in Rhea's house? Glass shattered. Phones rang. Walls began to shake. Trent paced the room like a cornered animal. "Why didn't you destroy those files?" "I thought I did." Rhea snapped. She was supposed to be gone. They argued in the shadows of their luxury kitchen, lights off, shades drawn. Paranoia flooded every word. Cole watched it all from the planted camera behind the thermostat. Every expression, every lie. Maria's reappearance had thrown everything off balance. Trent poured a drink, hand shaking. This isn't salvageable, he said. Ria walked over, calm now. Cold. We make it salvageable. Kill the story. Kill the problem. She meant Maria. Cole's fist clenched. He sent a timed text to Ria's burner. Nice performance on the news. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Her phone buzzed. She froze. Read it. Face drained. Trent leaned over her shoulder. Who the hell is that? No answer. She ran upstairs, opened her laptop, pulled out a hidden flash drive. Cole intercepted it with a cyber sweep. It held not just financials, but photos of other victims, personal files, blackmail material, documents Trent had kept, maybe even to use against her. Cole backed everything up. Now he didn't just have enough to burn them. He had enough to bury them in their own lies. At the bottom of the folder, one last file, a deed. Trent had transferred Cole's house to a new LLC, Red Sun Omega. They'd erased him from the world, but they hadn't erased what he'd become. The office was supposed to be clean, Trent's private space above the Holloway Realty building. No cameras, no devices. But Cole had been inside days earlier. Dressed as a fire inspector, he'd planted a microbug under the desk and a small lens inside a fake smoke detector. Now, from the safe house, he watched. Trent sat with a man in a pinstripe suit, older, well-groomed, with a voice that didn't ask questions. It gave orders. Loose ends don't belong in this business, Mr. Holloway, the man said. Trent nodded, tense. We'll take care of it. Like you took care of the Maddox case? Trent didn't answer. Cole leaned forward. This man, Victor Kinner, wasn't just another player. He was the investor, the money behind the operation. Victor stood and fixed his cufflinks. You've got 72 hours to kill this story. After that, the problem becomes you. He left without another word. Cole tagged his face with facial recognition. 3 hits. Military contractor. Denied contracts for fraud. Banned from 5 countries. The machine went deeper than Ria and Trent. Cole replayed the last 30 seconds of audio. Take care of Maria, Trent whispered into his phone after the meeting. And find me Maddox's brother, just in case he's seen a ghost. Cole's jaw tightened. They were widening the target. He picked up his phone and texted Dylan, don't go home. Meet me at the cabin. Now. Then he stared at the screen one last time. The war had officially turned. They wanted to clean up the mess. But now the mess had teeth. Dylan arrived at the cabin 2 hours later. Beard scruffy, eyes tired, panic barely restrained. You said to come armed, he said. So I brought everything. Cole nodded. Good. You're on the list now. Dylan sat at the table while Cole opened a steel lockbox. Inside, files from a man who used to be Trent's accountant. He'd gone dark years ago after filing a whistleblower complaint that mysteriously vanished. The contents of the folder were damning. Shell companies. Fraudulent property tax forms. Insurance kickbacks. Offshore accounts labeled under initials, VK, RM, TH. But one document hit harder than the rest. A will falsely signed naming Ria Maddox as sole beneficiary of Cole's assets. Dylan stared at it. She forged everything. She was never just in on it, Cole said. She was in deep. Since day one. He pulled up a blueprint of an estate project connected to Holloway's company. This one's scheduled for construction next month. They need Maria's silence before then. Dylan shook his head. Man, you think she ever loved you? Cole stared at the wall. I think she loved who she thought I could be for her. Disposable. He stood, closing the folder. No more hiding, Cole said. We go on offense. How? Cole turned the laptop around. Maria was on a call with Sasha Clements. She's about to go on record, live. Everything we've got is going with her. Dylan exhaled. You sure they won't try to shut it down? They will. Cole stepped outside into the fading light. And I'll be waiting for them when they do. Ria stared at herself in the bathroom mirror, hands gripping the porcelain sink. The news headline glared from her phone screen on the counter. Breaking. Maria DeSoto to give live statement tonight on spousal murder ring. Her breath trembled. Trent barged in. We need to go. Now. Where? She snapped. There's no place left to hide. He tossed a burner phone on the counter. Kinner's people will clean this up, if we give them Maria. And Maddox's brother, if we can. She turned slowly. You think they'll protect us? They'll kill us if we screw this up. She stared at her reflection again. In the beginning, this all felt like freedom. Power. Now? She looked like a woman unraveling. I should have just divorced him, she whispered. You wanted more, Trent said coldly. You don't get to play innocent now. Her hands curled into fists. Back at the cabin, Cole loaded gear into the truck. Surveillance drives. Maria's files. The video feed of the hit team Trent had sent to Dylan's shop the night before. He'd already rerouted them with a fake tip, sent them straight to an FBI field station. It bought them time. Inside, Dylan tested comms. Maria checked her mic. The interview was minutes away. Cole stood over them, calm and focused. This is the moment everything turns, he said. You speak. You show. And then, I finish it. Outside, rain began to fall for the first time in weeks. A storm was coming, and Cole was the lightning inside it. The broadcast hit at 7:03 p.m. Maria DeSoto sat across from Sasha Clemens under dim studio lights. Nerves visible, but her voice steady. The words didn't tremble, they stabbed. Trent Holloway and Rhea Maddox are part of an organized operation targeting spouses for financial gain, she said. I was one of them. I survived. Behind her, the screen showed evidence, bank statements, voice recordings, death certificates with falsified signatures. And names. Sheriff Judson Ray, Coroner Lyle Denton, Insurance Agent Carla Myers. They weren't just corrupt. They were accomplices. Cole watched from the cabin, standing behind Dylan and Maria as the story aired. Across the country, it lit like wildfire. By 7:22 p.m., local police scanners were flooded. At 7:35, an unmarked black SUV parked outside the FBI satellite office in Flagstaff. Inside that vehicle, Special Agent Nia Clark. She stood by the Bureau's whiteboard within an hour, photos pinned to cork. Rhea, Trent, Kenner, Judson, Carla. What started as insurance fraud, she said to her team, now looks like a coordinated murder-for-profit ring operating under the guise of legal estate transfers. Her assistant added, we just got a hit on financial movements. Offshore pullback. Someone spooked. Nia glanced at the board. Good. Let's chase fear. Back at the safe house, Cole turned off the TV and walked to the window. You did it, he told Maria. She nodded, tears in her eyes. No, we did. But Cole wasn't done. Now the whole country was watching. And Rhea? She wasn't hiding anymore. She was hunted. Trent's mansion sat quiet that night, lit only by hallway sconces and moonlight spilling through the glass panels. Rhea walked through it like a woman in a dream. Except dreams didn't have gunmetal silence and locked drawers full of forged death papers. She opened a cabinet, pulled out a hidden file marked Omega, then paused, her eyes catching something in the mirror. Movement. She turned fast, but the room was empty. Her nerves were wrecked. She hadn't slept in 2 days. And Trent wasn't helping. He was in the office, drunk, pacing. We're done, he muttered. The feds are coming. You should have killed her when you had the chance. You're the one who botched the Maria hit, Rhea snapped. You said it'd be clean. She was dead. I left her bleeding. Rhea's voice dropped. You sure about that? Trent stared at her. You think I'd lie? Rhea's hand moved slowly to her hip. She wasn't stupid. Trent would throw her under the bus to save himself. And she was already considering doing the same. Downstairs, the security panel blinked. Unarmed. Neither of them noticed. In the shadows behind the wine cellar door, Cole moved silently. Black hoodie, gloves, low-profile boots. He passed the family portraits without looking twice. He reached Trent's study and placed a tiny camera in the vent. Another in the chandelier. One in the smoke detector. When they woke up the next morning, every word spoken inside that mansion would be recorded, sent live to 3 backup servers, 1 hard drive, and a journalist's inbox. Cole didn't just want confessions. He wanted their empire to collapse under its own voice. And before he left, he placed a folded photo on Trent's desk. It was of Maria. Alive. That was the spark. But what came next would burn. Cole didn't sleep that night. Something Maria had said kept repeating in his head. There were others. But one of them, she didn't escape. They kept her. He couldn't shake it. Early morning, Cole accessed a drive Maria had passed him the night before. Hidden audio from a 2019 phone call. A woman's voice, not Maria's, sobbing, whispering, please. I told you what you wanted. Let me go. Please. Then Trent's voice. Not until we get everything we need. Your husband was sloppy. Now you clean it up. The date on the file matched another suspicious death. Lauren Hayes, wife of a cybersecurity contractor who overdosed on sleeping pills after catching her in an affair. But Lauren's body had never been found. Cole paused the audio, stared hard at the waveform, and boosted background sound. A faint beep, like a ventilator. The woman hadn't died. She'd been hidden. In the next hour, Cole cross-checked utility bills tied to Trent's shell companies. One address stood out, an abandoned desert property still drawing high electricity every month. Basement. Cole geared up. No delay. No backup. Just truth. The drive was 2 hours through barren land and cracked asphalt. The place looked empty, windows boarded, dirt path erased by wind. He broke in through a side panel and followed the wires beneath the floor. In the basement, he found her. Lauren. Pale. Breathing. Hooked to machines. Trapped. Forgotten. Her eyes fluttered open. She whispered one word. Help. Cole nodded, swallowing the burn in his throat. I've got you. He carried her out into the dawn. Now the story wasn't just about betrayal. It was hostage, torture, survival, and now explosive evidence. Everything had changed. Lauren's body trembled as Cole wrapped her in a thermal blanket. Her skin was pale, bruised, like she'd been erased from the world one nerve at a time. They were 2 hours from the nearest safe place. Cole drove like hell, checking mirrors every few seconds. He didn't say much, just reached over once, gently held her wrist. Still alive, still fighting. Back at the cabin, Maria gasped when she saw her. Lauren? Oh my God. I thought. She's been down there for years, Cole said. Hooked up. Forgotten. Like a failed experiment. Lauren couldn't speak much, but she nodded slowly at their questions. Yes, she remembered Trent. Yes, he said her husband's files could ruin everything. She'd overheard names. Places. Code words. Omega. Echo 9. Vault. Cole wrote it all down. She was more than a survivor. She was a vault of evidence. Hours later, Lauren was in a hospital bed under federal protection. Sasha, the journalist, met Cole outside the ER. She's the smoking gun, Sasha whispered. There's no coming back from this for them. Cole didn't respond. He just stared down the empty hallway, his mind already planning what came next. Rhea and Trent weren't just guilty now. They were criminals with a body count, and the only person who knew their secrets had just been rescued. But Cole wasn't going to let them run. He was going to choke their entire world down to dust. Cole's next stop was a warehouse on the outskirts of Winslow, a facility Maria had marked on a map months ago but was too afraid to check herself. Inside was a labyrinth of crates and rusted office furniture, and beneath it, a concrete door with a biometric pad. Cole knelt, pulled out a sensor bypass tool, and tricked the scanner with a heat print from one of Trent's drinking glasses collected days earlier. The door unlocked with a heavy thunk. He stepped into a room glowing dim blue from racks of humming servers. Hard drives. External storage. Paper files stacked in fireproof bins. And on the wall? A live feed control panel showing every mansion camera, every mic, every angle of surveillance. Trent had recorded everything. He wasn't just a criminal, he was paranoid. Every conversation with Rhea, every deal, every threat, even arguments with officials who tried backing out. Cole smiled. This was the vault. He popped open a lead box and pulled 3 drives, then snapped the system shut and left a little surprise, a remote kill switch program. One signal and every file would be wiped across every server in their network. They wouldn't get to hide the evidence. But if they tried to, they'd erase everything they owned with it. Outside, Cole dialed Sasha. I've got their full archives. You're bringing them down tonight? No, he said. I'm letting them do it themselves. He slid into his truck, the sun just starting to rise over the Arizona horizon. What's better than revenge? Letting them pull the trigger on themselves, thinking it's aimed at someone else. Rhea's mansion was too quiet. She paced the marble floor in bare feet, her phone clutched like a weapon. On every news outlet, the story was spreading. Maria's face. Lauren's rescue. Trent's name. Her name. Trent sat in the study, a glass of whiskey untouched. We disappear now. New IDs. Crypto wallets. It's time. Rhea's voice cracked. We're done, aren't we? No, he said flatly. Not if we're smart. Just then, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Message. You missed one folder. Want it back? Come get it. Location sent. Attached, a GPS pin. Remote canyon, off the main highway. She turned pale. It's him. He's dead. He's not. Trent looked at the GPS, then back at her. This could be our way to clean house. We get the folder. We shut this down. She hesitated. He grabbed his gun. We go now, before someone else finds it. Meanwhile, Cole stood at that exact GPS location, staring down into the canyon below. He had a satellite phone, a sniper cam, audio recording, and a backup generator just in case. But most importantly, he had the entire server room drive already uploaded in time to hit 4 news networks in exactly 2 hours. The bait wasn't about revenge. It was about pressure. Rhea and Trent weren't coming to recover files. They were walking into their final act, and they didn't even know the spotlight was already on. The air in the canyon was razor-sharp. Dry winds howled between the rocks, carrying dust and tension. Cole stood near the cliff's edge, put up, face shadowed, hands calm at his sides. Hidden just behind him, a body cam, drone surveillance above, and a voice recorder linked straight to Sasha's newsroom. He wasn't just staging revenge. He was staging the truth. By the time Trent's Range Rover crunched over gravel and parked 50 yards away, Cole had eyes on both him and Rhea. They stepped out, guns drawn, moving with careful precision. You see anything? Rhea whispered. Not yet. Cole waited until they stepped within earshot. Looking for something? He said, voice cool and low. Rhea gasped. No. Trent raised his pistol. You should have stayed dead. Cole didn't flinch. So should have the others you buried. Trent fired, one wild shot. Cole ducked behind cover, the bullet hitting a rock wall behind him. No more running, Cole shouted. Everything's recorded. Your voices. Your faces. Your kills. You think anyone will believe a ghost? Rhea screamed. I don't need belief, Cole said, stepping out slowly. I have proof. He held up a flash drive and tossed it at their feet. Go ahead. Destroy it. But ask yourself what happens when your names hit federal servers in 18 minutes. Trent froze. Bluff, he muttered. Then both of their phones rang at once. Breaking news alert. Live. Murder ring tapes released. High-profile developer and wife implicated in multi-state crime network. Trent's hands shook. Rhea's breath stopped. Cole lowered his hood. Game over. He didn't just trap them in the canyon. He trapped them in their own confession. Within 10 minutes of the broadcast, the entire country saw what Cole had been building for weeks. Multiple networks aired split-screen footage, Rhea and Trent discussing payouts, Lauren in the hospital, barely alive Maria holding up a framed photo of her missing husband, eyes wet but strong. Cole's name, once linked to a tragic hiking death, now attached to a takedown that spanned states. Every social media platform exploded with outrage. At the canyon, sirens could be heard in the distance. Cole turned his back and walked toward his bike. Stay and explain. Or run and confirm everything they suspect. Rhea shouted after him. You think this clears you? You think you're the hero? Cole stopped. Looked over his shoulder. No, he said. But I'm sure as hell not the victim. He disappeared over the ridge as law enforcement swarmed in. SWAT trucks. FBI agents. Helicopters overhead. Trent tried to run. He didn't make it 10 feet. Rhea dropped to her knees, hands above her head, mascara streaking. 2 officers handcuffed her while others bagged evidence from the SUV. Documents, passports, hard drives, all laced with fingerprints and damning details. Agent Nia Clark stepped onto the scene and took it in with one glance. Get them separated, she said. We do this by the book. Every charge. Every witness. Back in the control van, Sasha watched the feed, mouth pressed in a hard line. They wanted power, she muttered. And they just made themselves famous for all the wrong reasons. By morning, the story was no longer a headline, it was a wildfire. News anchors labeled it, the Maddox Files. The Canyon Conspiracy. The couple who sold death. Talk shows debated Rhea's psychological profile. Was she a mastermind or just a partner? Late-night comics joked about Trent crying during booking caught on leaked footage. But the court of public opinion was clear. There was no sympathy. Their assets were frozen. Property seized. Lawyers scrambled to spin a defense. Inside their holding cells, Trent screamed for his lawyer while Rhea sat in silence, hands folded, face blank. But her eyes, they were haunted. She knew it was over. And the worst part? Everyone knew who they were now. Cole, watching from a diner booth 3 towns over, sipped his coffee in silence as a nearby TV played the footage. The waitress paused. "You look kinda like that guy, Cole Maddox." He smiled faintly. "Used to get that a lot." Outside, he lit a cigarette and walked toward a truck parked in the shadows. Dylan sat inside, eyes wide from watching the world implode. "You did it," Dylan said. "They're finished." Cole didn't respond right away. Then, "Not yet. There's still the ones who helped them. The corrupt, the complicit, the quiet, they'd all played a part." And Cole had every single name. Sheriff Judson Ray watched the news with his gun on the table. The headline running across the screen, "Maddox ring. Over a dozen accomplices identified." His face wasn't up yet, but he knew it was coming. He reached for his phone, dialed Carla Myers. "They're coming for us," he said. "No one's proven we did anything," she snapped. "You think they need proof? They have video. Audio. Hell, Denton already rolled over." Carla went silent. Back in his truck, Cole had ears on the call. The moment he saw Judson panic, he moved. That night, Cole dropped an anonymous tip to the FBI's Internal Affairs Unit, complete with time-stamped footage of Judson taking cash from Trent 3 months earlier. Not just hush money, payment for tampered case files. The next morning, Judson opened his front door to 6 agents with a warrant. He didn't resist. Just muttered, "Damn ghost brought the whole thing down." Across town, Carla Myers pulled her Range Rover into a private clinic and never walked out. The front desk found her sobbing in a hallway, shaking. She'd been sent a package, Cole's old dog tags and a flash drive containing her voice on tape. "He's dead. Process it fast." The tags were covered in fake blood. The message was clear: "You declared me dead. Now live with it." By noon, she'd turned herself in and started naming names. The foundation Trent and Rhea built wasn't just cracked. It was collapsing. And Cole wasn't even close to done. Cole didn't expect the call, but he answered anyway. The prison line crackled, followed by a familiar, smug voice. "You win," Trent said. "But I have something you want." Cole said nothing. "I've got a dead drop in Mexico. Half the money we made. Clean. Untraceable. Yours if you walk away." Cole exhaled, slow and cold. "You think this was about money?" Trent's voice hardened. "Come on, soldier. You're tired. Burned. You did your damage. Now take the prize and disappear." Cole leaned back in his chair, glancing at the framed list beside him, the victims, the enablers, the systems. "Rhea's already turning on you," Cole said. "She's giving names." Trent laughed, bitter and short. "She always was the better liar." "Not anymore." Cole hung up. The next hour, he uploaded the rest of Trent's digital evidence to 3 international watchdog groups, 2 federal departments, and 1 journalist who'd been fired for chasing this case too early. The headlines changed again. "Global Real Estate Laundering Network Exposed." Cole Maddox evidence leak uncovers political bribes, judicial ties. Trent's name became more than criminal. It became a case study in ego and failure. And in his cell, staring at the flickering light above, Trent finally understood. Cole hadn't just beaten him. He'd erased everything he stood for. The courtroom was packed. Camera crews swarmed the front steps. Protesters held signs reading, "Justice for the Forgotten." Cole didn't sit inside the chamber. He watched from the press gallery, behind shaded glass. But Rhea saw him. Just once. A flash of his silhouette. And her face broke. Gone was the woman who smiled through lies. Now she sat pale, still, wearing beige like a cage. The prosecutor opened. "Rhea Maddox stands charged with conspiracy to commit murder, wire fraud, money laundering, and aiding and abetting in multiple homicides." The room went still. They played the recordings. Showed the documents. Read out the names, every victim Cole had uncovered. When Maria and Lauren took the stand, the room shifted. They didn't cry. They didn't falter. They stood tall. Survivors. Rhea never looked them in the eye. Her lawyer whispered, begged, stalled. But Cole knew. This wasn't a trial. It was an autopsy of everything Rhea built her life on. By the end of week 1, her public defenders were already preparing a plea. Outside, Sasha caught up with Cole. "She's done," she said. Cole nodded. She was done the moment she called it love. And with that, he walked away from the courthouse, not as a ghost, not as a soldier, but as the man who made silence speak louder than any bullet. The media storm didn't die, it evolved. Headlines turned from outrage to aftermath, from victims to survivors. But for Cole, the noise never mattered. Only the names did. He returned to Dylan's shop, tucked off a quiet stretch of road. The smell of oil and metal greeted him. Normal life, untouched by the rot he'd just burned down. Dylan was under a lifted truck, cursing softly. "You're 2 quarts low," he said without looking. Cole handed him a water bottle. "And you're on every watch list in Arizona." Dylan rolled out, wiped his hands, then stood to face him. "I didn't do enough." "You didn't break," Cole replied. "That counts for something." They sat on the tailgate, silence between them more honest than words. "I keep thinking," Dylan finally said. "All this time, and she was smiling in our family photos." Cole looked away. She learned how to wear lies like makeup. He pulled a folded photo from his pocket. One of him, Rhea, and Dylan, years back. 4th of July. Fireworks behind them. All fake smiles and fake peace. He tore it clean down the center. "She didn't just try to kill me," Cole said. "She tried to rewrite me, erase me from my own life." Dylan exhaled, then asked, "What now?" Cole stood, staring off toward the road. "Now I go finish the part she couldn't touch." He got in the truck and drove off, the ripped photo tucked back in his pocket. Justice had been served. But peace? That was still out there, waiting to be earned. In the weeks after the trial, a ripple turned into a wave. Public trust collapsed across the system. Real estate firms were raided. Insurance companies investigated. County officials stepped down. Several fake death cases were reopened. And Trent Holloway's name? Blacklisted across every financial sector. Rhea Maddox's image was burned into digital memory, her trial photo used in fraud prevention seminars and criminal law textbooks. But Cole, he never came forward. He didn't sit for interviews. Didn't write a book. No podcasts. No staged return. He simply vanished again, this time by choice. People speculated. Some said he fled the country. Others swore he was working for the feds now. A few believed he never existed at all, that the whole operation was the work of some secret task force. But Sasha Clemens knew better. One night, she found an envelope taped to her car window. No name, no note, just a flash drive. Inside, unreleased footage, case notes, raw audio logs, and one final message. This isn't a revenge story. It's a warning. For every system that thinks it can profit off silence, someone is always listening. She didn't publish the message. She saved it. For herself. Because some things weren't meant to be broadcast. Some truths were meant to haunt the ones who deserved it. Cole stood at the edge of the estate that once belonged to him, technically. Rhea had signed over the mansion in a desperate attempt to hide assets. A legal slip that turned out to be her final mistake. He walked through the halls alone. No furniture. No art. Just empty space echoing with ghosts. In the study, he found an old wine glass on the floor. Lipstick still smeared on the rim. The past staring him dead in the face. He didn't touch it. He walked upstairs, opened the master bedroom window, and lit a match. Outside, demolition crews waited. The order had been signed that morning, full teardown. No salvage. Burn the blueprints. Cole gave a single nod. Engines roared. Walls cracked. Wood splintered. Brick shattered. By sunset, the mansion was rubble. He stood by until the last wall collapsed, the structure that once planned his death reduced to dirt and smoke. Then he turned and walked away. No victory speech. No last look back. Just dust in his wake. Because sometimes the only way to heal is to erase the place that broke you. The safe house was almost empty now, gear packed, walls cleared, surveillance feeds disconnected. But one drawer remained untouched. Cole unlocked it, revealing a black case labeled Echo Archive. Inside were 3 drives. One held all the raw audio from Trent and Rhea's mansion. The second contained video from the Canyon confrontation. The third, that one held everything else. The evidence the world hadn't seen. The parts too dark, too damaging. Politicians. Judges. A charity front used for laundering life insurance money. Cole stared at it for a long time. He could burn every one of them with it. Watch the whole system collapse in one final purge. But then he thought of Maria, of Lauren, of Dylan, of survivors who needed healing, not another public war. Some battles didn't need more fire. He stood, walked out to the edge of the river behind the cabin, and dug a hole beneath the oldest tree on the bank. There, he placed the case inside a military-grade lockbox and buried it deep. Not erased, not exposed, just hidden for now. If someone came after him again, they'd regret not finding it first. Back inside, he sealed the drawer, dropped his keys on the counter, and pulled a single photo off the wall. The one that had survived all this, him in uniform, with his unit. The only family that never betrayed him. He tucked it into his pack. Then he shut off the lights. Some files stay buried, not because the world isn't ready, but because sometimes, peace is choosing not to detonate everything. The studio was quiet. Sasha Clemens sat under a single spotlight, a microphone in front of her, camera rolling. No teleprompter, no producer in her ear. Just her and Cole's voice playing through her headset, his final recorded message. You wanted to know what justice looks like, he'd said. It doesn't always come in courtrooms or with handcuffs. Sometimes it's just knowing the people who tried to erase you now have to live with the world seeing them as they really are. She paused, looked into the camera. This isn't just about Cole Maddox. It's about every silent victim, every file stamped closed, every corrupt official who believed their power made them untouchable. Images flashed across the screen behind her, Trent in handcuffs, Rhea breaking down on the witness stand, Denton testifying under federal pressure. Then Maria and Lauren, standing side by side. Alive. Sasha leaned forward. To the ones who helped cover it up, you know who you are. And so does Cole. Maybe your name didn't hit the news this time. But this story? It's not over. She reached under the desk and held up a sealed envelope marked Maddox Archive. This was left for us. Unopened. Until the time is right. She stared at it. And believe me, that time will come. The camera light faded to black. But the silence it left behind? It felt like a warning. The cabin Cole moved to wasn't fancy. One room. Pine walls. A worn leather chair in the corner. A record player that only worked half the time. But it was quiet. And that was all he wanted. No engines overhead. No buzz of cameras or drones. Just the wind whispering through trees and the occasional crackle of the fireplace. He spent most mornings walking the dirt trail along the lake, boots crunching softly over gravel. No plan. No missions. Just movement. One afternoon, he saw a familiar Jeep roll up the hill. Maria stepped out, sunglasses on, hair longer now, healthier. A smile tugged at her lips. You didn't disappear after all, she said. Didn't feel like running anymore, Cole replied. They sat on the porch, watching the sun drift behind the tree line. She didn't ask questions. He didn't offer stories. And that silence? It wasn't heavy. It was peace. He handed her a letter folded, sealed. What is it? She asked. In case something happens to me. It's not paranoia, he said. It's habit. She tucked it into her coat without a word, then leaned back, closing her eyes. And for the first time since the day he returned home from overseas, Cole Maddox didn't feel like a soldier, or a ghost, or even a name on a case file. He just felt human. The box had been sealed since Kabul. It sat untouched in Cole's duffel through combat tours, hospital beds, the betrayal, the revenge. But tonight, he finally opened it. Inside were 15 unsent letters, all addressed to Rhea. He sat by the fireplace, letters spread on the wooden floor. Paper yellowed, ink faded but legible. Rhea, I miss you. I think about what I'll do the first night back. You'd love the view here. Quiet, like you used to say you wanted. I'm scared, and I wish I could say that to your face. He read them slowly. Some pages shook in his hands. Not from fear, from anger, from loss, from finally seeing that all the love he poured out, she'd never held it. By the time he reached the last letter, his jaw was clenched. The date, 2 weeks before his death. He stared at it for a long while, then stood, carried the stack outside, and lit a match. The letters curled and blackened in the fire pit. Embers rose into the cold night sky. He watched them burn, not in bitterness, but as a man who finally understood that closure sometimes had to come from your own hand. He didn't need to rewrite the past, He just needed to stop living in it. And as the last letter turned to ash, Cole Maddox finally let go of the man who kept writing them. The box had been sealed since Kabul. It sat untouched in Cole's duffel through combat tours, hospital beds, the betrayal, the revenge. But tonight, he finally opened it. Inside were 15 unsent letters, all addressed to Rhea. He sat by the fireplace, letters spread on the wooden floor. Paper yellowed, ink faded but legible. Rhea, I miss you. I think about what I'll do the first night back. You'd love the view here. Quiet. Like you used to say you wanted. I'm scared, and I wish I could say that to your face. He read them slowly. Some pages shook in his hands. Not from fear. From anger. From loss. From finally seeing that all the love he poured out, she'd never held it. By the time he reached the last letter, his jaw was clenched. The date, 2 weeks before his death. He stared at it for a long while, then stood, carried the stack outside, and lit a match. The letters curled and blackened in the fire pit. Embers rose into the cold night sky. He watched them burn, not in bitterness, but as a man who finally understood that closure sometimes had to come from your own hand. He didn't need to rewrite the past. He just needed to stop living in it. And as the last letter turned to ash, Cole Maddox finally let go of the man who kept writing them. The knock came at sunset. Cole opened the cabin door to find Lauren Hayes standing there. She looked stronger now, cleaner, more herself. Mind if I sit? She asked. He stepped aside without a word. They sat on the porch, wind picking up off the lake, the air holding the smell of rain that hadn't arrived yet. I've been thinking a lot, she said. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you. You'd have made it, Cole replied. You're tougher than you look. She smiled. So are you. A long silence settled. Then she reached into her coat and handed him a flash drive. What's this? He asked. Something my husband collected. Before he died. It connects to people even Trent didn't know about. I've been holding on to it. Why give it to me? Because you won't use it for fame. Or money. You'll use it right. Cole looked at the drive for a long time. Lauren stood. I'll be around, she said. If you ever want to talk. Thank you, he said. For what? For surviving. She nodded and walked off into the mist rolling in from the lake. Cole stared at the flash drive for a long time, then closed his hand around it. Some ghosts leave you. Others hand you the next chapter. 3 weeks later, Cole received a letter marked Department of Veteran Affairs, classification override. Inside, a certificate. Signed, stamped, official. Service record reinstated, Sergeant Cole Maddox. Clearance restored. Award, Distinguished Service Medal. At the bottom, a single line. We regret the delay in correcting this error. Thank you for your sacrifice. Cole sat at the kitchen table, staring at the document. No parade. No cameras. Just paper. But it meant something. It meant he hadn't been forgotten. That somewhere in the mess, his service still mattered. He placed the certificate in a drawer, under a layer of folded clothes. Didn't need to hang it on the wall. He knew what he did. Dylan visited that afternoon. Brought 2 beers. No small talk. Read the news? Dylan asked. They're opening an inquiry into Judge Hall. Said someone dropped an anonymous file with a full trail of bribes. Cole didn't react. You know anything about that? Dylan asked with a smirk. Cole sipped his beer. I've been fishing. Dylan laughed. Yeah, thought so. They watched the lake in silence. 2 men who'd lost almost everything, but somehow still standing. The uniform was gone, but Cole Maddox had his honor back. And this time, no one was taking it from him. The legal name change was quick. No questions asked, just paperwork and a notary who didn't care about who Cole used to be. He signed it. Samuel Reed. Not to hide, but to start over. He kept the Maddox name alive long enough to clear it. Now, it was time to give it peace. A few weeks later, under the name Samuel Reed, he stood before a small group in an old church gym. No cameras, no press, just survivors. Maria, Lauren, 2 other women he hadn't met before. Victims of similar networks in different states. And at the front of the room, a banner, Maddox Foundation for Silent Survivors. Founded in his name. Operated by the women who lived through hell and chose to rebuild others with it. Maria gave the speech. Cole stayed in the back, arms crossed, head low. We don't need heroes, she said. We need survivors who rise. and a system that finally listens when we scream. The applause was small, but real. Afterward, Maria found him outside. You didn't want the credit, she said. Didn't earn it alone, Cole replied. She smiled. Still, you gave us more than justice. You gave us something we thought we'd never get again. What's that? Control. He didn't say anything, just nodded once. That night, he left a donation at the center, $50,000 cash in a weathered duffel. No signature, just a note. Keep building what they tried to destroy. Sasha Clemens sat alone in her newsroom. The Maddox case was now part of law enforcement training in 5 states. Ria's court sentencing had been televised. Trent's death in prison? Ruled suspicious. Few mourned him. But what mattered most to her sat in a glass box in her office. The original drive Cole gave her. She never opened the full contents. Didn't need to. Because what Cole gave the world wasn't just evidence, it was accountability. A reminder that no lie, no scheme, no mask could survive the truth forever. She recorded one final podcast episode, never aired, just stored. In it, she said, most stories end with justice or tragedy. This one gave us both. A man betrayed by the woman he trusted. A soldier framed by the system he served. But he didn't crawl away. He stood. And because of that, the rest of us got to stand too. She closed the file. Pressed save. Labeled it. Legacy. Maddox, do not delete. The letter reached her through her public defender, weeks before sentencing. A simple white envelope. No return address. Ria sat on her cot, knees pulled up, hands trembling as she opened it. Inside was a single page. Handwritten. Neat. Sharp. Just like him. You never loved me. That part I've made peace with. But what you tried to do, that wasn't survival. That was greed. You didn't just betray a marriage. You hijacked a man's life and tried to bury him in it. But here's the part you didn't see coming. I never stayed buried. And now, you're the one trapped behind walls. You wanted freedom. You sold your soul for it. And what did it buy you? Silence. Bars. Headlines that no one pities. You could have had peace. But you chose power. Goodbye, Ria. Cole, she stared at the page, chest rising, hand shaking. The walls around her felt tighter. The ceiling lower. For the first time since her arrest, she cried. Not out of guilt. Out of the terrifying realization that he'd walked away free, while she'd never be more than the woman who lost everything. The prison yard was quiet. Not like the movies, no brawls, no shouting. Just the dull sound of gravel under boots and silence between cages. Ria sat alone on a bench under a dying tree, older now. Not in age. In soul. Across from her, another inmate passed a folded paper from a library card. No words exchanged. She opened it carefully. It wasn't from Cole this time. It was a newspaper clipping cut from a recent front page. Survivors unite to launch Maddox Trust, nation's first fund to combat financial-based spousal crime. Ria's eyes scanned the headline. At the bottom, a small photo, Lauren, Maria, and behind them, a man blurred in the background. Tall, alone, watching from afar. Even there, Cole didn't need a spotlight. He had something she never would again. Respect. A guard called her name. She stood slowly, folding the paper in her jumpsuit pocket. Where to? She asked. New cell block. No sunlight. She didn't protest. Didn't beg. Because somewhere in her mind, she knew. This was the ending she wrote for herself. The last chapter of story. Freedom isn't running. It's knowing you stayed. The sun hung low over the canyon. Soft light pouring across the rocks where it all began. Cole stood alone, the wind curling around him, no threat in sight. This was the spot Ria chose for the fake accident. This was where he was supposed to vanish. And now, it was where he stood alive, heart still beating, story still his. He sat on the ridge, knees bent, fingers brushing the dirt. No gear, no weapon, just breath. Behind him, he heard footsteps. Maria? She sat beside him. No words needed. I don't think I'll ever forget any of it, she finally said. You're not supposed to, Cole replied. But you don't have to live inside it either. A hawk soared overhead, slicing the sky in half. Free. Maria reached into her coat and handed him something wrapped in cloth. He opened it slowly. His original dog tags. The ones that were buried in the canyon. How did you? FBI returned them. Thought you'd want them back. He held them in his hand. Heavy, cold, real. Then, without another word, he stood, wound the chain tight, and slung it around a nearby tree branch. Not as a grave, as a mark. Of survival, of truth, of freedom. He turned to her, smiled once, small but real. "You ready to go?" he asked. She nodded. They walked back to the truck, two figures silhouetted in fading light. Not ghosts, not victims, just survivors, finally choosing where the road goes next. And that is the end of Cole Maddox's story. A soldier betrayed, a man erased, but not destroyed. He fought back with more than violence. He fought with strategy, with truth, with purpose. But now, let me ask you this. If someone tried to erase your story, would you fight to take it back? Let me know in the comments. Where are you watching from? And what would you have done if you were in Cole's boots? If this story grabbed you, gave you chills, or just made you stop and think, then please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves revenge stories with heart. Because we're not stopping here. We're coming back with another thriller, another betrayal, and another fire. Until then, take care of yourself, and take care of your truth. We'll meet again in the next epic revenge story. Stay sharp, stay standing, and never let them write your ending. See you soon.